Now, today I want to introduce you as far as I can, and we have two teachers, professors who will take over this afternoon and finish it, but I'm going to try to get all the essence in. I want you to meet the next players, the next player group. Very important group that has highly influenced the literature, the propaganda, the educational system related to, did man evolve from a lower life form? Creation versus evolution. And this player is introduced as Haeckel's embryos. What's an embryo? An embryo is the original form, like you have an egg, you have a hen egg, and as it's hatching, the embryo develops in it. And what's that?
A preborn being.
A preborn being, well stated. Yeah, preborn being. You have a lot of Neanderthal, right?
I have a Norwegian blood, so aren't they pretty close?
Pretty close. So an embryo is a preborn being in its development. Okay, who was Haeckel? Haeckel was a professor at the University of Jena in eastern Germany. And how influential was what he did? Well, we're going to see how influential that was. Introduction. No show and tell academic diagrams have had more lasting impact than Haeckel's embryos. None have had more lasting impact than Haeckel's embryos. Yet, contemporaries with Haeckel and succeeding generations of scholars have permitted the public and textbook dissemination of outright fraud. Something's going on. I thought the educational system was giving us straightforward information. And I want you to know up front, we're going to investigate the fraud involved here, and that fraud is going to be described by the world's leading scholars and admitted to be fraud. Yet, many of the modern biology textbooks still include Haeckel's embryos. I want you to meet the players and know what's really going on. Is there evidence for evolutionary development from a lower life being? No. Well, where do we get all of this described in the biology text? We'll watch very closely. Outright fraud. It was Stephen Jay Gould who was the world's leading evolutionary proponent. He is now deceased. It was Stephen Jay Gould who, despite having known the truth for over 20 years, and this is from the literature, kept his mouth shut until a creationist, actually a fellow biologist, exposed the problem. All the time, Gould was letting his colleagues become accessories to what he himself calls the academic equivalent of murder. What's going on? Recently, science writer Matthew Cobb previewed the provocative book Haeckel's Embryos, Images, Evolution, and Fraud by Nick Hopwood, published by University of Chicago Press. All right, so now, after the public has accepted a concept, finally there is admission that there was fraud all along. Even though the reviewer and author, both the author, Nick Hopwood, and the reviewer, Michael Cobb, still uphold the evolutionary thesis, they candidly admit the outright fraud that Stephen Jay Gould reluctantly said had been known and hidden in the academic community for a century. Something's going on that is not pleasing to truth. As you will see in further details, these drawings of Haeckel's embryos were a major influence in Charles Darwin's efforts to draw evolutionary conclusions. Well, this is massive. Charles Darwin has affected hundreds of millions of people. And one of the tenets leading him to his conclusions and then publishing The Origin of Species. One of the tenets had to do with Haeckel's embryos. The importance of the ultimate influence of this fraud can hardly be overestimated.